Today, I want to share something that can completely change how you learn English. Something simple, yet incredibly powerful: reading. Now, you might be thinking, reading? That's boring. But stay with me, because once you understand what reading can truly do for you, you'll see it's not just useful, it's your secret weapon for becoming fluent in English. Picture this. You want to speak English naturally and confidently. You want to have smooth conversations, enjoy movies without subtitles, and express yourself with ease. Reading is one of the most effective ways to make that dream come true. It's not just about words on a page. It's like entering a world full of stories, knowledge, and voices that teach you English without even trying. Every time you open a book, a short story, an article, or even a comic, you're stepping into a personal English lesson. You're picking up new vocabulary, understanding grammar, and absorbing the way native speakers actually talk. Let's say you read a story about a girl visiting a new country. As you follow her journey, you naturally learn how to describe places, express emotions, and explain what's happening. And here's the magic. You're learning without effort. It's entertaining, it's engaging, and it feels natural, like watching a movie in your mind. Another powerful thing about reading is how it teaches you grammar. Not by memorizing rules, but by seeing them in action. When you read sentences like, "She was walking quickly," or "they decided to go home," your brain starts to recognize the patterns. You don't need to study complicated grammar books. You just feel the language as it's used. And here's a big secret. The more you read, the less you have to think when you speak. Your brain starts to remember the phrases and sentence patterns. So when you speak, the words come out more naturally, almost like muscle memory. Reading also builds your vocabulary. Every story introduces you to new words, not dry textbook words, but real, meaningful ones. If you're reading about the jungle, you might learn words like wild, explore, mystery. Later, when you're telling your own story, those words return naturally. Suddenly, instead of saying it was fun, you say, "It was an amazing adventure." Doesn't that sound better? Reading helps you think in English, one of the biggest challenges for learners. We often think in our native language first, then try to translate into English. That slows us down. But when you read often, your brain begins to operate in English automatically. You're not focusing on each word. You're following the story, seeing it in your mind. That shift is how fluency begins. Reading even improves your listening skills. How, you ask? Well, when you read, you become familiar with how sentences are built and what words sound like. So when someone speaks to you, your brain quickly recognizes those structures. It's like hearing a song for the first time. You might not catch all the lyrics, but the more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Reading does the same. It trains your brain to hear and understand English better, whether it's from a friend, a movie, or a podcast. And the more you know, the more confident you become. Reading gives you something interesting to talk about. Say you read a story about a chef in a fancy restaurant. Next time you chat about food, you say, "I read about this amazing chef who makes the most incredible dishes." Now you're sharing something real and engaging, not just repeating phrases from a classroom. So, how much should you read? You don't need to spend hours every day. Just 10 to 15 minutes can make a huge difference. Pick a time that fits your routine, morning, lunch break, or before bed. Start small. Be consistent. Over time, your English will improve naturally, without pressure. Reading is a journey. Through it, you explore new worlds, cultures, and characters. No passport required. Every sentence, every word is like an ingredient in a delicious recipe. Each one adds flavor to your English. So when you speak, you're not just using basic words. You're painting vivid pictures with your language. Reading stories and dialogues also teaches you real-life English. Textbooks may say, "Hello, how are you?" But in stories, people say, "Hey, what's up?" or "How's it going?" These are the expressions native speakers actually use. And by reading them often, you start to use them too. You stop sounding robotic and start sounding real. Why start today? Because the sooner you begin, the faster you'll see results. Reading is fun, easy, and it works. So pick something you enjoy, a story, an article, or even a comic, and start reading a little each day. If you're new to English, start with materials written for beginners. These still have rich, interesting content, but with simpler words. You're not just studying, you're enjoying yourself. And as you enjoy, you learn. Here's a powerful tip. Treat every new word like a treasure. Don't worry about memorizing everything. Instead, notice how the word is used. Try to guess its meaning from the sentence. For example, if you read, "The sky was gloomy," you might think, gloomy must mean not bright or happy. You can even keep a notebook of interesting words. But don't stress. The goal is to get used to them. And with time, you'll see those words pop up again, and you'll understand them effortlessly. Let's say you read, "The little dog dashed across the yard." You learn that dashed means ran quickly. Next time you're describing someone running, dash comes to mind. It becomes part of your natural vocabulary, like adding a new tool to your language toolkit. Pay attention to how sentences are built. Forget grammar rules. Just notice how things are written. Like a child who learns to speak by listening, you learn by reading real sentences. Try this. Take a simple sentence and make your own version. If you read, "She went to the store because she needed milk," try, "He went to the park because he wanted to play." This builds your confidence to speak without translating in your head. Want to keep things fun? Mix it up. 1. Stories and novels. Great for diving into a new world and learning vocabulary. Start with simple ones. Even children's books are perfect for beginners. 2. Short articles and blogs. Perfect when you don't have much time. Look for topics you love. Travel, food, hobbies. 3. Comics and graphic novels. Fun and easy. Pictures help you follow the story and understand the dialogue. 4. Magazines. Pick one on your favorite subject, sports, fashion, tech. Short articles, useful phrases. Confidence is one of the biggest challenges in learning English. We get nervous, afraid to say the wrong thing or use bad grammar. But reading helps. The more you read, the more you absorb natural sentence structures and real expressions. It's like your brain starts to feel the rhythm of English. Suddenly, you're speaking with confidence. You don't just memorize English, you feel it. You might read a sentence like, "I'm over the moon about my new job." And the next time you're excited, you'll say, "I'm over the moon." That's expressive. That's authentic English. Try reading out loud. It's one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation and flow. You train your mouth to form English sounds and get a feel for how sentences sound. It's like having a mini conversation with yourself. Here's a tip. Pick a short passage. Read it aloud a few times until it feels natural. Then try saying it without looking. You'll be amazed at how smooth your speech becomes. Reading isn't limited to books. Look for English in everyday life. Labels, signs, instructions, recipes. Read about your interests, health, cooking, science. Each small moment adds up. And soon, reading English feels as natural as breathing. And here's something beautiful. Reading helps you find your own voice. Every author has a unique style. The more you read, the more you pick up phrases, humor, and ways of expressing ideas that feel right for you. One author might describe emotions beautifully. Another might make you laugh. You borrow a little from each and create your own style. Reading also sparks creativity. It opens your mind, makes you curious, and helps you grow, not just in English, but as a person. You might discover interests you never thought about, like art, travel, science. Imagine reading about the Northern Lights. You're learning English, yes, but also something breathtaking about the world. These moments give you rich, meaningful things to talk about. So here's the final takeaway. Reading isn't just a tool, it's a gateway. It's not a chore, it's a journey. Each page takes you closer to fluency, to confidence, to becoming the English speaker you've always dreamed of being. Grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and fluency. Reading brings it all together in the most natural, enjoyable way. So pick up that book, scroll through that article, dive into that story, and let reading take you further than you ever imagined.